Subscribing to The Observer on YouTube couldn't be easier, and we're going to show you exactly how to do that. First, navigate to www.youtube.com/theobservernj. Once you get there, all you need to do is hit the subscribe button. Next to the subscribe button, click the down arrow and then all. And that's it. You're subscribed, and now anytime The Observer is live, you will be notified. Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Canessa coming to you live from the home studio today on this, the 15th day of July in the year 2025. Sure hope you're enjoying your Tuesdays, no matter where it is you are in the country. As he does each and every week, we start off this broadcast with a visit with Tony Mondaro, and he joins us today from the Harrison Weather Center. My good friend Tony, good afternoon.
Kevin, have you had enough of the humidity yet?
Oh my goodness! When you wear glasses like you and I do, you walk outside the house sometimes and it becomes foggy. It's so it's been so brutal. What is the humidity right now, Tone?
It's like pushing 60%, which is pretty high. And I don't think we'll have the widespread thunderstorms and showers like yesterday, but there's still a chance in some areas. Some areas may get a pop-up shower or storm. I'll tell you what a scenario yesterday with the heavy rain developing. Over 6 inches of rain, 6.67 inches of rain to be exact, in Clark, New Jersey, and just over 6 inches in Westfield, New Jersey yesterday. That in the weather world, that's just a tick to our west and to our south of those locations. And unfortunately, 2 fatalities from that event, too, in Plainfield, New Jersey, as 2 women were swept into a brook. They had some road closures and road washouts in Union County as well yesterday. It seemed like Union and Somerset County was the hardest hit yesterday in that weather.
What happens in a situation like that? How does it happen that much rain could fall in such a short period of time?
Thunderstorms develop over one area and keep redeveloping over one area and slowly moving. We were concerned yesterday because they started to train our way, but by some miracle, they stopped and drifted to the south and east. That's something that we monitor in real time. I know we put something out on our Facebook page when this was all developing yesterday. We said, look, folks, don't travel at all if you don't have to, especially out of the area. We're having a situation that is a really life-threatening situation with a lot of water coming in at the same time. Today, that area of disturbance and that frontal boundary is just to our south and east and offshore. But I don't think we'll have those problems, coming later on today tonight. Only isolated showers and thunderstorms, what we call pop-ups. Popping up, going right back down again, and then the heat and humidity will return. Right now, looking at the current temperature, we're 88 degrees with a pressure of 3.05 inches and steady, and that bodes for a temperature around 90 degrees, I think, this afternoon. And this will start another little mini heat wave for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We have temperatures in the low to perhaps the mid-90s. In the 70s, all with unsettled weather where you're going to have a mix of sun and clouds. It'll be hazy, meaning that it'll be hard to see the skyline out to the east. New York City, because you'll have poor air quality. Now a little frontal boundary is going to try to pass by Friday night into the weekend. If that's successful, it'll still be warm, but it's going to feel cooler because the dew points, which are now in the 70s, will get into the upper 50s to perhaps the low 60s. So we're hoping that we have that little bit of a change. And not to leave out the tropics, there's a little bit of a disturbance developing off the east coast of Florida. That is predicted to possibly hit the Gulf Coast states as a tropical storm over the weekend. So still busy here at the Weather Center. No rest for the weary.
I got a text alert yesterday, and I want to ask you a question about this. It came in at about a few minutes before 7 o'clock, and it said a flash flood warning is in effect for this area until 9 p.m. It is dangerous and life-threatening. Do not attempt to travel unless you are fleeing an area subject to flooding or under an evacuation order. I was supposed to cover a meeting in North Arlington about a half hour after that, but when I saw that, I froze in my tracks and I didn't go to the meeting. Are those alerts a little too generalized, or is that the type of thing you see that you pay the hell attention to what they say? Because I really didn't want to go out if it was going to sweep me away. I know it didn't happen to us, but it was close enough to hit home.
Weather emergency alerts on your cell phone are built in to protect life and also to protect property. So you did the right thing when you see something like that, and that is not issued hastily by the National Weather Service or FEMA. They want to make certain that people make sure that they heed those warnings. They will only go off for flooding, tornadoes, uh, very severe thunderstorms and hurricanes, and also blizzards, and also in the wintertime snow squalls. Otherwise, they will not set off those wheel alerts unless it is life threatening. So you made the right call by staying put.
I I wonder if sometimes they would do a. I guess they'd be better if you could localize it more. But in a moment like this, I guess you don't have enough time to pull it together and say, well, this may happen in Union County, but it's not going to happen in Hudsonburg and Essex or something like that. Am I being too critical by saying that? I wish they would localize it better, or is it just better? Listen, even if you're not going to get hit by it, just listen to what they're saying.
I don't think that is there yet, Kev, for us to try to pinpoint. From us to Union County, you take a look at a map. Yeah, it seems far away, but in the world of weather, that's only an eyelash. That's
Right.
like a knot's eyelash. It's not far. So for us to try to pinpoint that, or any model to try to pinpoint that, I don't think we'll ever be there, to be honest with you. And two, the way it was drifting, it looked like it was drifting into our area. Matter of fact, some of the public safety departments around our area, we gave a call around 3:30, 4 o'clock, saying, "Hey, look, if you have anything outside, just be careful. If you have flood-prone areas, be ready to barricade those off." Trying to give the public safety officials a little bit of a heads up, especially more some of the areas here that are more prone to that flooding. Try to get out ahead of the system.
If I'm putting it on, tell me to shut up. But we saw what happened in Plainfield. We saw what happened in Westfield and Scotch Plains and places like that. Now, a lot of where, at least in Kearney, where I am, we're very high. Kearney Avenue's high. I live a couple blocks away from Kearney Avenue, so we're still pretty have a high elevation. What would happen if Kearney or Harrison or any of the towns like there got a storm like that? Would we be looking at it running to Schuyler Avenue or Passaic Avenue? What would you suggest might happen if, God forbid, something like that ever hit us?
You start getting a lot of rain in a very short period of time. In this situation yesterday, in only a couple of hours, you had 3 to 6 inches of rain. That's like pouring a water faucet in a bucket or a pail of sand, and you watch that sand quickly wash away. That's what would happen going down hills and into flood-prone areas where you would start getting roads washed out. That happened during Ida, where they had flooding where they haven't had flooding before. So this is some of the things you have to watch. Is remember, being on a hill, that the water's going to be racing down the hill and causing a lot of flooding.
My goodness, my goodness. Well, the bottom line is we're lucky in here, but God help the people who did get affected by this storm. So, what's going on else? Otherwise, I know you were away for a couple of days, Tony, and I'm sure you got to see a lot of people who you normally don't see. What was going on the last couple of weeks?
I'll tell you, Kev, after getting thrown out of here at the weather center here, I said to the wife, Janine, I said, let's take a ride down the shore, see what's going on down there. I'm glad I did. I ran into a couple of people, and I shared a couple of pictures. So, Kevin, you put the first one up. We'll explain what we have there. And our first picture is me and Don Wyckoff. Don was a reporter and anchor for Ocean County Newswatch 8 back in the 90s. And at that time, I was the weather producer for Willie the Weatherman, Bill Mullen. and I got to spend 3 years over at Ocean County News Watch 8 before Comcast bought out Adelphia, and our show was over there. But had 3 wonderful years there. Maybe one of the reporters that you may remember from News 12 New Jersey came from there, Janine Strafasi, which has since moved on from News 12 New Jersey. And we had a great time reminiscing. Through our 3 hour lunch went very, very quickly. And
Yeah.
then next we have Ron Henry and his dog, Honey Buns. And Ron, for those who follow the goings of Seaside Heights, Ron produces a show called Seaside Heights Let's Do It Again. Just search his name out on YouTube. And what he does, he gives weekly updates on the Seaside Heights area. And how I met Ron was right after Sandy. Ron used to help the stray cats in the area get fed. We found them homes after the hurricane, and that's how me and Ron hooked up, because my wife, also an animal lover, wanted to assist at that time, and also, assist in this local area too. We got some great people in this area that do a lot of TNR work. And it was really a nice weekend. Got a lot done in a couple of days down here in Ocean County.
Now, let me ask you this: do you go the beach when you're down there? Are you a beach bum, or are you more of a boardwalk guy, or stay at the house? What do you do when you're down there?
Well, we set up the weather center can never leave us, so we have a couple of laptop computers down there. And I like to walk this year because I wanted to see what they did at Ortley Beach. And let me say, I'm a big critic to people who don't do mitigation for hurricanes and then try to get storm damage to a minimum. And I have to really hand it to Toms River Township, County of Ocean, FEMA. They really did a hell of a job along the Ortley Beach area, where back in the 90s you had no dune system, a very short beach. Now they built up the dunes at Ortley Beach, and I think what happened with Sandy in present day would not happen to Ortley Beach. Seaside Heights, Seaside Park already did the mitigation, so that's why they had minimal damage worth of Sandy. And it only goes to show, when you build those seawalls higher, yeah, I understand from the boardwalk no more, you can't see the ocean, you have to either take the sky ride or go in some elevation. But it really saves life and property when you build up that dune system. And remember, folks, stay off the dunes, and make sure those dunes are in good shape. That's great mitigation, so I was very happy to see that. So Tony got to walk from Seaside Heights, New Jersey, almost to the border of Lavalette, and walk back, which is a pretty good walk for me. And those who know me know that I can use that walk. But at 60 some odd years old, I have to watch my health that I don't overdo it. So I think my heart doctor and my diabetic doctor will be happy that I took a couple of steps.
You have been to a bunch of towns in the shore, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but are all the towns kind of following suit with doing this mitigation work, or are there some towns that still have work to be done?
And after Sandy, they told the contractors and people who were building down there, you have to build smarter. So all these residents now are elevated. I think if you elevate your residence and you're on blocks, meaning that you make your house out of concrete, I think you stand a pretty good chance of at least not having the damage that you did. Say if your house was just one of those bungalows without a dune system. So yeah, they did a lot of mitigation work, so this won't happen again. Now, I don't want to see it tested, down the road, but I think we'll be in better shape the next time a big one comes along down there.
That's certainly news indeed to hear that, Tony. On our way out here, everything else going well? Anything else you need to report today?
No, just everybody have a nice weekend, and of course, Kevin would scold me if I didn't say, please like here to the Observer Live program, as we have updates every Tuesday and occasionally on Fridays.
Let me show you real quick. I put this together, and I always forget to put it on the screen. but it's not going to show now, of course, because I didn't set it up properly. But I have a big full screen thing that says like and subscribe. As soon as we get off the air, I'll show it to you. And thank you for that. Thank you for this, the update especially on what was going on at other parts of the state of New Jersey. And we'll do it again next week.
Absolutely. Before we throw it back to you, folks, just be weather aware out there. Have those weather apps with your warnings. Have your wheel alerts on your cell phones. Just stay weather aware, especially out there. We want to keep everybody safe. And Kev, have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week.
And I don't care if you say that 50 times a day. I think everybody needs to be aware of that. Thank you, Tony, and we'll do it next week. See you later.
All right, my pleasure.
There he is, the one and only Tony Mondaro, he of the Harrison Weather Center. And this was what I was talking about. I always forget to put this up on the screen at the end of the day, so let me do it right now. If you are watching us on YouTube, which is where we hope you are watching us, although you are more than likely looking at us on Facebook, please head over to our YouTube page, www.theobserver.com/theobserver, youtube.com/theobservernj, and just hit the like button. It takes 30 seconds to get there and to subscribe. We're trying to build everything over there because all the videos that we do here on Facebook disappear now after 30 days. This is one of Meta's new rules. So if you can, take a few minutes and head over to that page over on YouTube, and it will really help us out as much as you can only imagine. All right, now, you see a couple of pictures that are on the screen. I want to tell you a little bit about what happened over the weekend here in Kearney. This was the Touch a Truck event. Look in the middle of that picture. That is the one and only immortal Gloria Spence. Gloria put this event together as a member, and a new, believe it or not, a new member of the Kearney Belleville Elks. And what it did was it allowed an opportunity for residents and children. And let me tell you, it wasn't just the kids that got a kick out of the day. I certainly did, and I think all the adults who were there as well did that day, to tour the trucks. And I'm going to tell you, the one that you see right there on the left is the new Kearney Police Department Mobile Command Center, which we've talked about at great length on this program a few times. It's a beautiful, beautiful new vehicle. You see 2 fire trucks there. There's an ambulance from Naves over there. There are some private truckers there. In the back is, you see the extended arm right there. That is the DPW truck with the bucket, which there was no way I was going to get on that, even though I think they offered me the opportunity to do that, but there was no way I was going that high. And then there were also a couple of trucks from Moran Towing, and you see that motorcycle there. They were all open for everybody to hop on in or to walk in the case of the police mobile unit. And it was a great afternoon, 3 hours of that. There was also a lot of booths. You can see, if you look at the right-hand side of the picture, there were a lot of setups there from the Kearney Coalition and a bunch of other things. So it was an educational event as well as a fun day. And Gloria Spence worked her butt off to get this together, and it was a smashing success. So, Gloria, thank you for what you did putting that together. I know the children got a real kick out of it, and I certainly did too, and everybody who was there. In that picture that you see right there, that is Councilman Jose Rodriguez with Mayor Carol Jean Doyle. Then it's Gloria. Then it is Councilwoman Mary Trine DeCastro and Audra Murray, who also happened to be there on that Saturday afternoon. It was very, very hot that day, but people still came, and they still had a great time. Now, this was a couple of weeks ago, there was a cleanup that the NJDEP organized to clean the area near the new Hudson-Essex Greenway. Apparently, Governor Murphy was in Newark cutting a ribbon for the project today. I'm not sure why you'd cut the ribbon at Newark if Stage 1 is in Kearney, but then again, that's how things go, where Kearney is almost always the forgotten stepchild. But anyway, this was organized by NJDEP, and they cleaned up the area along the old New Jersey Transit tracks where this greenway is eventually going to live. And they had about 40 volunteers. You had to sign up. They limited it to a certain number of people. They didn't want it to get overcrowded. And they did some nice cleanup work over there. That was 2 Saturdays ago. And as I'm looking in the picture, I see a bunch of elected officials, including Mary Trine de Castro, Mayor Doyle, Councilman Jerry Facito, and Councilman Fred Steves. If I missed anybody, I apologize, but I don't see anybody else in there. And the rest of the folks who were there are either from DEP or they were from the cleanup committee, the people who volunteered to do that. Now, there's a couple of very important things coming up. The Kearney Public School Uniform Exchange that Jenny Pass started a couple of years ago is already in full swing. There is a need for all of these supplies that you see on the screen. If you are so inclined to donate, I'm going to ask you to freeze the video right now. You can just hit the pause button and you will see all the different things that they need. Now, they have a brand new location that Deputy Mayor Melanie Ryan and I are going to go see very soon on Cellar Street, where all the sorting and all the distribution can happen. It's a great new spot that was donated at no cost. It's a big, big building. When I tell you this is something to behold, I'm not kidding you. So if you are so inclined, you see that these items that are needed are listed properly on the screen, and you can also donate by going to the Amazon wish list, which is right there on your screen. So if you are so inclined, you can freeze the video right now, pause it, put in that website, or write down anything that you think, or take a screenshot of anything you would be able to contribute. And you see there are 4 drop-off locations that are listed. It is Kearney Fire Station at the headquarters, then also the fire station on Davis Avenue, Kearney Police Headquarters at 237 Laurel Avenue, and 402 Kearney Avenue, which is Town Hall. So those are the locations where you can drop all those things off. Now, this is part of the whole uniform exchange, which we'll get into at another time, but for now, it is the school drive where your help is most needed, and Kearney has always been very, very generous at this time of year. So please, let's not change that now and get involved as much as you can. This following event here that is up on the screen now is called Batters Up. It is an annual event that the Kearney and Belleville Elks put together every year. It's a hitting competition. You know, they also have a soccer shoot. And by the way, the winner of the soccer shoot nationally for her age group was a young lady from Kearney, New Jersey. And this was all across the country. But this is for anybody who is from the north central region of the Elks. You see the towns there: Cedar Grove, Harrison, East Newark, North Darlington, South Orange, Lyndhurst, Greater Essex, not sure what that is, Kearney, Belleville, Nutley, and West Orange. This is happening on July the 25th on Belgrove Drive at Vets Field. And any children that are aged 5 to 15 can participate in this, and it's a fun day. And I'm sure there are a lot of certificates and prizes available. Same thing as we say with everything else. Pause the video right here if you need to write down any of the details here. There's plenty for you to read right there. Now, let me put up this. This is this week's newspaper. And I want to tell you something about this. This project was pulled together by my dear friend Mary Beth Kennedy. She has been the leader of the Girl Scouts, Troop 2771, for 20 years now. And Mary Beth wanted to do something very special for the girls for several reasons. Number one, it is the 20th anniversary of the troop's founding back in 2005. She also realized that next year is the I never say the word right, but the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. And so she wanted to do something special with the girls. And instead of doing a local trip, they went down to Washington, D.C. The photo you see right there is of Girl Scouts, including her daughter Faith, who were bestowed the honor of placing a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier at Arlington National Cemetery in Arlington, Virginia. What an honor something like that is for anybody to do, but for these young women who did this in the name of everybody back home in Kearney. It was a very moving event. I was able to see a video of it, and if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. In fact, I should probably get the video and show it to you one day. And Mary Beth and the girls traveled throughout Washington, D.C. They went to the usual spots like the Supreme Court. I know they drove past the U.S. Capitol building and the White House. Luckily, there was nobody throwing things at the Capitol that day, so it was very, very nice that the girls were able to enjoy that day. It was a beautiful, beautiful 4-day experience that these girls that went through. And I'm going to tell you something. This is very important. The generosity of the people of Kearney are the reason why this was able to happen, and why the cost to the girls was only $50. Mary Beth has run a tricky tray, and people have made significant donations to the Girl Scouts, and they were able to do all of this in D.C. So many other things that you'll see in this week's edition of The Observer that I didn't even mention yet for $50. None of it happens without the generosity of the people of Kearney who donated to the Girl Scouts over the last year. And Mary Beth thanks them, and so do we, because without them, this trip doesn't happen, and the girls don't get to experience all these wonderful things that they did. And for some, it'll be a once in a lifetime. So thank you, Mary Beth and the Girl Scouts, for doing this. It was a beautiful, beautiful 4 days that you did and put together. And you, Mary Beth, have to take a bow too, because you were able to pull this together. Mary Beth told me that she had a company that was supposed to do all the planning, and they just kind of disappeared on her. So she had to book all these things on her own. She was fortunate to find somebody through the hotel they were staying at in Washington, D.C., and look at the job they did. She said they were absolutely phenomenal. So, Mary Beth, take a bow yourself too, because without you, absolutely none of this happens. Now, I just want to pop this on the screen because I just noticed Melanie Ryan is here with us, and I don't know why these things shrunk so much. So give me an opportunity to increase this so it's actually legible. Melanie says that the next fundraiser, which is for the Girl Scouts, is a tricky tray on October 18th for a trip to Boston on the actual 250th anniversary of the United States of America. What a great trip that will be, I'm sure. Going to Beantown and getting to do all those wonderful things there in Massachusetts, and for everybody to get to experience that godforsaken accent up in New England. So, Melanie, thank you for reminding us that the girls will be going up to Boston in a year. And let's see. Of course, if you're so inclined, please, indeed, make some donations for that one as well. I know I will be going to that tricky tray. When you get older, like at 50 now, I actually enjoy tricky trays a hell of a lot. And when I tell you Melanie can find them, she does. And they seem to be everywhere. And there she goes, Paul Revere. Paul Revere. There it is. Paul Revere. We all know what he did. Well, I shouldn't say everybody knows, because there are a few people who actually have no idea who Paul Revere is, but we'll get into that on another day. All right, let's go to this. I've told you guys about Ron Woods. Ron is originally from Kearney, but he lives now in Arlington, Virginia, and he is a military buff. But he has done so much he's done so much research on Kearney people who have been involved in the military. And this week he has a 2-page story about the men who lived in Kearney and who lost their lives in the Korean War. It's an absolutely moving piece, and he tells us a little bit about each of the men and how they died and the suffering that they went through. And I want to thank Ron Woods for doing this. This is a time-consuming thing, but he's done it. We're going to have another story about Eugene Rudomansky in a couple of weeks, who is a veteran of the First World War. We'll talk about that once we get to that, but Ron does some great work. And he, of course, is assisted by Melanie, who has become a military expert. You could ask her about any of these people, and she will tell you their story. It is absolutely great stuff, especially if you are a friend, or excuse me, not a friend, but if you are a military buff, check out the story, pages 2 and 3. This is a very unfortunate situation. Something happened in Lyndhurst over a 3-day period where 2 people were arrested for exposing their genitals in locations throughout Lyndhurst. Now, the guy on the left was additionally charged because they found video of him exposing himself and walking around the hallways of a luxury apartment building in Lyndhurst. And the residents are up in arms about it, which I think I would be too, if I had to walk out into a hallway where I lived and see somebody walking around with his whatnot hanging around. So they are working with the police department. I don't know what the ultimate goal is, whether it's to get this guy evicted from this apartment or what it is, but it's a very unfortunate situation. There's got to be something going on here where this guy has just decided to do this on a regular basis. And in a building like that, it's not good because there's a lot of children around and they've been exposed to this. So we'll keep an eye on the story so you don't have to, and we will figure out what happens and what the next step is. But he was charged with 2 more counts of lewdness for apparently doing this when nobody was looking, but the cameras were rolling. So thank goodness those cameras do exist indeed. Jason Bernstein has 3 sports stories, including this Little League team that won the Junior Little League New Jersey Championship and moves on to a regional competition in Pennsylvania next week. They're looking for donations, so if you want to donate to that, you can read the story. And then check out social media. You'll find out how you can donate. But this is a great story. They're going to be in this whole final thing where it's basically the Junior World Series for Little League. It's pretty damn cool, if you ask me. And I'm just going to go there. That's the Touch a Truck event, which we talked about earlier. And don't forget, there are 2 pages of classifieds for you to check out. And one more thing, I should have put this up on the screen. East Newark has hired 2 new police officers. One of them is from Kearney, the other is from Garfield, but they're off to the police academy, the Hudson County Police Academy, and in 6 months or so they will be sworn in officially as police officers. So congratulations to Mayor Dina Grillo, and I want to thank Sergeant Billy Arizuma for sending me that, and to Sergeant Junior Fiore. You see the 2 of them in the picture with Mayor Grillo and the 2 new recruits who are going off to the academy. The East Newark Police Department continues to get bigger, and this was part of the mayor's goal, was to see that police department expand more. And you know, with all the building that's going on, with the new park and all the things that are necessary, that are going on there, this is a 1/10 of a square mile borough, but there are a lot more people. So it's very good to see the expansion of all the people who are being added to the police department. Great job by everybody involved. And I am very, very happy to see all of that as well. Okay, I want to thank everybody for joining me today. We start with Tony Mondaro. Thank you, Tony, for joining us. I see Lisa is still with us. Melanie Ryan is here. Tabitha Joseph, we've never met, but I'm so glad you're here. Tabitha, thank you very much for joining us today. And to anybody who may be lurking in the background, thank you for joining us today. We will be back 1 week from today. But of course, if any news breaks, and God willing, there will be at some point this week, hopefully, we will join you to let you know what it is. We want to see more things happening. I want to do more live videos. So hopefully in the coming weeks and days, there will be more to report. But that's it for now. From the home studio, Kevin Canessa signing off for now. And we hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesdays, everybody. And we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.